Hello Italy's lovers and welcome to our channel. Here is our Tuscany Top 10. Tuscany is without a doubt one of Italy's most fascinating areas. Tuscany, located in the country's center, is famed for its scenery, history, and creative legacy. It's a land of rolling hills interspersed with historic hilltop cities. Tuscany is a must-see destination, from the thermal hot springs of Siena to the Renaissance city of Florence. Let's begin this video in San Gimignano. San Gimignano, about an hour's drive from Florence, is a magnificent medieval city located on a hill. The medieval watchtowers are one of the city's most recognizable features. There are currently 14 watchtowers remaining, but during its peak, there were 72 towers, the tallest of which was almost 60 meters tall. The towers were erected by competing families that sought to build the tallest and grandest structure. We can't imagine how it could have appeared back then. It was medieval Manhattan. It was so much pleasure walking through the city. It felt like you were going back in time. San Gimignano flourished as a city until 1348, when the Black Death pandemic struck, killing more than half the population. San Gimignano's medieval ambience has remained intact over time, and it has become one of Italy's most popular medieval destinations. Following that, we'll go to the adjacent city of Siena. It is roughly a 40-minute drive from San Gimignano and is situated on three hills, with the Piazza del Campo as its focal point. This public area was previously a Roman forum and was reconstructed in the 13th century. If you look closely, you can see that it is divided into 9 pieces, representing the Council of Nine. The Tower of Mangia, which stands over 87 meters tall and requires 500 steps to reach the summit, overlooks the plaza. The square now hosts the wild Palio di Siena horse race around the edge of the piazza twice a year. You should see that sometime. The Duomo di Siena is another of our favorite aspects of the city. It's an aesthetically pleasing church that was finished in 1246. With its black and white pillars and limitless artwork, the interior blew our head. We cannot suggest Siena highly enough. You will fall in love with this medieval city. Montrigione is a tiny town located between Siena and San Gimignano. It's one of the most beautiful medieval walled strongholds we've ever seen. It was built in 1219 by the people of Siena to serve as a front line in the wars against Florence. Following that, you'll visit the Val d'Orcia region. This is probably what comes to mind when you think about Tuscany. With its rolling hills, perfectly aligned cypress trees, and lovely hilltop towns, this is certainly one of Tuscany's most scenic areas. The Val d'Orcia begins in the hills of southern Siena and extends all the way to Monte Amiata. Pienza is one of our favorite towns in the Val d'Orcia. Pienza, about an hour's drive from Siena, is a picture-perfect hilltop village. The town was first mentioned in the 9th century, but during the 15th century, the entire village was rebuilt to be a Renaissance town to serve as a retreat from Rome. It was one of the first villages to implement urban planning, earning it the moniker, the touchstone of Renaissance urbanism. You'll adore how the city looks out over the neighboring landscapes. The legendary gladiator image was recorded in an extremely cool location just beneath the city. We recall thinking to ourselves while watching the movie, how cool would it be to explore Tuscany? Montepulciano is now only a 20-minute drive from Pienza. This medieval Renaissance hamlet, built high above a limestone slope, will transport you back in time. From 1390 to the mid-16th century, Montepulciano flourished as architects constructed opulent houses and Renaissance structures. It is now one of the most popular towns in the region, and it was used in the film Twilight New Moon. If you enjoy wine, Montepulciano is home to some of the best red wines in Italy. The town is simply stunning to us. It is without a doubt one of our favorites in Tuscany. Following that, we'll go to Satania. These are some of the coolest looking hot springs we've ever seen, and they're approximately a 3-hour trip from Florence. As it runs down mineral terraces, the water turns a milky blue tone. Because to the thermal activity of a nearby volcano, the water is 37 degrees Celsius all year. The Romans used to bathe here to benefit from the medicinal properties of the hot springs. They are now open all year and are one of Tuscany's most attractive sights. It is often crowded, even in the middle of the day during the summer. If you want to avoid crowds, we recommend visiting the hot springs early in the morning or in the spring or autumn. Nonetheless, it is a pleasure to be there. The water is very refreshing, and you couldn't believe the turquoise blue color. If you're in Tuscany, you must visit this wonderful place. Following that, we'll go to the adjacent town of Pitigliano. Pitigliano, an ancient settlement perched on volcanic rock, is roughly a 30-minute drive from Satania. The territory around Pitigliano is thought to have been inhabited since Etruscan times, and in the 1600s, the town began to have a considerable Jewish presence when some Jews fled persecution in Rome, earning it the nickname, Little Jerusalem. Today, Pitigliano is a charming town. You'll adore how it's carved into the cliffs. It's a stunning sight. Serrano, another interesting hamlet, is only 10 minutes distant. It, like Pitigliano, is built on volcanic rock. Because of its strategic location, it was repeatedly assaulted during the Middle Ages, and as a result, it became one of the most fortified settlements in southern Tuscany. When you visit today, you'll feel like you've stepped back in time as you explore this enticing village. Following that, we'll go to the famed town of Pisa. Pisa, roughly an hour's drive from Florence, is famous around the world for its leaning tower. The tower stands over 55 meters tall and leans about 4 degrees. The tower was finally built in 1372. The lean is caused by an unstable foundation, which has been an issue since the building was built. We're amazed they've managed to keep it from collapsing after all these years. It is unquestionably a world marvel that you must see at least once in your life. Our final destination will be Florence, Italy's most famous city. Florence is without a doubt our favorite city in Italy. It is regarded as the birthplace of the Renaissance and was the most significant political, cultural, and economic city in Europe and the globe at the time. This city's history is immense, and without its influence, our world would most likely be drastically different now. Florence is magical since practically the entire city center is made up of medieval buildings, which truly transports you back in time. The Duomo is one of Florence's most magnificent landmarks. You can't believe how large it is when you look at it. It was finished in 1436, and it still surprises us that such a large dome could be built so long ago. Florence's citizens had huge dreams. Another historic landmark is the Ponte Vecchio Bridge, which is where the famed poet Dante met his love Beatrice and was also the only bridge on the Arno River that was not damaged during World War II. Another must-see attraction is the Palazzo Vecchio. Now, for the best view of Florence, we propose going to Piazzale Michelangelo, where you can obtain panoramic views of the entire city. We can't say enough nice things about Florence. You'll fall in love with this lovely city. That concludes our Tuscany Top 10. It's a fascinating region, and we wish you could visit all of its cities and attractions. Let us know in the comments below where your favorite spot in Tuscany is. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for other incredible tours around Italy.